Hey everyone, I'm willing to bet that a lot of you haven't heard of the small but powerful religious cult known as Scientology. And that's because outside of the US, I can't really name any other countries that might have believers of it, no less an actual church. But despite that, I'm confident in saying that they're one of the scariest organizations in the world, with one reason being the tenacity and expanding their reach. If you don't really know them or their origins, this video will go pretty in depth about it and why they're much different from what you might expect just from my short description. I mean, even myself, I was shocked at how much power they had, because in just a few years of being established, not only were they able to build a pretty big church, but also own more than 50% of the town property that they were based in. I'm not going to try to go into the maths behind that and how much money it would have taken, but I can definitely get an idea of how diehard their followers must be.
Welcome back to the Papa Meat channel. How you doing? Come on in and sit on down. Now today, I have something pretty interesting to talk about. When you think of Florida, what's the first thing you think of? Old people, retired,
Brackets, that's what.
Miami, beautiful women, unbelievable street food. You probably think of Disney World, alligators and swamps, humidity, and all those crazy Florida residents. But I'm sure one.
No, come on, don't put Carrot Top, whatever his name is, on there.
In all of the United States of America. And that, of course, is Clearwater, Florida. We were going to do a big video about a bunch of different creepy towns, but this specific town was so interesting and so oddly disturbing that we were just like, F it, we're just doing the whole thing about Clearwater. Clearwater is very, very interesting. If I could do a sales
whenever I hear that name Clearwater, I just think of Blackwater from Red Dead.
Or a video game, but it's very much real life. And it's something that is so fascinating because it is still ongoing today. There's no real happy ending to this story, but it's a story nonetheless. So to really get into Clearwater, we're gonna have to understand Scientology. If you've been alive while the internet has been a big thing, it's impossible to avoid Scientology. You might know a little here and there.
Not sure. I feel a lot of people that don't really know about it. I'm not surprised. It's really not that big of a religion, I guess, if you can call it one.
We should do a little brief overview of what Scientology exactly is. And also, if I have any Scientologist fans out there, sorry. So to quickly explain Scientology, it's a modern religion made by the science fiction writer L. Ron Hubbard. He conceived of this religion in the 1950s.
I think that says a lot if the main prophet is a science fiction writer.
The modern science of mental health. He's a science fiction writer, but also a lot of what Dianetics is it's just like a compilation of self-help books. Kind of cherry picking all kinds of things from different areas of self-help, therapy and all kinds of stuff like that. And he kind of just put it into one big book, and then he threw a giant alien on it and volcanoes. Like, if you look at the book of Dianetics, it doesn't really correlate with what's inside. And a lot of people who started following the religion in like the 60s, they loved it. I mean, it's self-help practices that are actually practical, that actually help people. It's just when you get you're in a cult and the leader goes kind of crazy and
In their defense, if there was a new fad called Scientology, I would absolutely follow it. Sounds badass.
Will, except for L. Ron, I think he was just out for a quick payday. Essentially, they're a cult that brainwashes people to isolate themselves from their families and tries to use celebrity endorsements to encourage people to join them. Which, with any cult that you're in, the biggest thing with cult is that you separate entirely and then you almost depend on this new group of people to function and actually live. But the interesting thing about Scientology is that they have the celebrity endorsement aspect. The top one, of course, being Tom Cruise. That's pretty crazy, that Tom Cruise. And
I really want to see this video mention how he came to be a Scientologist, because he's such a bizarre character to be like the main front of the religion. I can see why, because he's such a not fanatic, but just crazy person that it's not that far to believe it happening.
Or Leah Remini, she was Kevin James's wife on King of Queens, and now her entire life is basically trying to expose Scientology. And I will say too, just because we're listing off celebrities and stuff, if you are interested in Scientology and kind of understanding the weird ins and outs of it, there's a great Louis Theroux documentary that's very, very good. I love Louis Theroux. Shout out Louis Theroux. The church claims that there are millions of active church members, but estimates seem to think that there are less than 40,000 Scientologists worldwide. The church's influence comes from the estimated
wait, hold on. That doesn't like barely anything for a religion. Most of that has to come from America. I can't imagine like someone living in the mountains of like the Middle East supporting this religion.
Cash and assets it has collected from its followers. And Clearwater is the epicenter of that revenue stream. So, how did Clearwater come to be? Well,
they probably make a lot of money. People will donate money for some religion they're part of, so I'm not surprised whatever metric he puts up.
To avoid investigations into tax evasion and fraud when he selected Clearwater as the spiritual headquarters. So at the time, L. Ron Hubbard, he's literally living on the ocean. That's why they have a literal sect in their religion called the Sea Org. That's because of that. He was like, okay, we should get on a boat and go because we should go. Yeah, that sounds cool. And he even gave himself a captain's outfit, like a general's outfit. Unbelievable. I think it was toward.
That has to be a power control thing, because he's like, if people see me in a captain outfit, they'll believe whatever I say and put in the book.
Drug use was happening. I don't know. Which it met his criteria. It was a warm climate.
Oh, why's the water green? It looked like it was full of moss.
Repurposed into the Church of Scientology's main base of operations. Which, look at that. Really, honestly, it is a beautiful hotel. I would go. Well, the church comes in, they're just like, this town's kind of a little gross, all right? It's a little party town. We're gonna clean it up. We gotta introduce morals back into this party town. We need to bring morals back into town. Isn't that right, L. Ron Hubbard? Yes, that's correct. They deemed it the Project Normandy. The Church of Scientology devised a plan to take control over the city of Clearwater, which is kind of a f***ed up name to call that. Project Normandy. I'm pretty sure the Battle of Normandy Beach, Normandy Beach, and World War II is where.
That's a good point. I mean, it doesn't make sense, yeah. Also, that clip was dumb. The guy has an MP5, dressed up the water with you, so there.
Dubbed as their flag land base. The next step was to fully investigate the Clearwater City and county area so that they could distinguish their friends from their enemies and handle as needed. The church had the members infiltrate local newspapers, community agencies, and law firms in order to spy on their enemies, which is really
God, that's creepy.
And that's one thing you'll find with a lot of Scientologists is those motherfuckers snoop and they dig because their entire formula for success is fear-based blackmail. The idea,
which is the best base for any religion, in my opinion. That's the thing. I always joke about these kind of like people being like so dumb and just weird that you never see them as a threat, but then you look up like how they started or what kind of stuff they do behind the scenes, and it's like the most elaborate kind of scheme to get whatever they want. And just already like the first operation they did to kind of like set up the new home for the religion, it's like digging out this random town and trying to shape it in a way that can make it safe for them to stay at. By just doing like spec up, trying to like find every small part of the town and see what they can like take advantage of.
One of their targets was the mayor of Clearwater, Gabe Cazares. He began to grow suspicious of the church's intent as they continued to buy up more real estate through their shell companies. Soon, Cazares became the church's biggest critic and called the group a terrorist group. Pretty funny. You're not in good standing whenever the literal mayor of the town.
To be fair, if some random group bought like half of the estate in the city, that would be scary, because you're like, what's the main goal out of this?
In an attempt to smear Gabe Cazares, the Scientologists tried staging a hit-and-run accident dubbed Speedy Gonzales. What?
That sucks.
Racist, dude. Did they have a manila envelope?
Wait, did they call it Speedy Gonzales? Because, of course, hit and run. Because he's Hispanic as well. That's pretty funny. If I was that guy, the mayor, I'd be like, okay, I'll give it to you guys. You're kind of funny. Go run off and do whatever stuff you want to do in my town.
There was also Project Taco Less, which again was another operation to ruin his career. Just racist campaign against this mayor. What's so weird is that it feels so juvenile. Speedy Gonzales. How about we name this one Project Taco Less? With every documentary I've ever seen or anything, Scientologists like to record people. Like if they see that you're recording something, they'll come out and they'll record people. And they're very childlike. If you're just like, why are you recording me? They'll be like, why are you recording me? And they'll like do the back and forth game or the mimic game. And you're just like, okay.
I feel like this religion has a lot of like autistic people part of it to make them believe in it. I don't know. I'm just saying.
We're going to act like babies. We're going to act like juvenile 8-year-olds. I'm going to write that down. First level, always be racist. Goes up to a person, boop, boop someone in the nose. All right, now go off, Tiger. Both of these smear campaigns were unsuccessful, and Cazares and his wife sued the church for $1.5 million. Boom, love that. In 1986, the church ended up settling. Unfortunate. Today's video is sponsored by...
Wait, how rich are they to just take like a lawsuit like that right to the head, 1.5 million, still survive and set up a headquarters in town? Like, I really want to know, like, what are the main people that contribute so much money in this religion?
Washington. Documents showed that the United Churches of Florida was created as a front to protect church assets from seizure by the government. There was also Operation Freakout, which was a plan to get Paulette Cooper, a critic of the church, committed to a mental
Oh my
institution.
God.
There were also additional documents stating that Scientology had plans for complete world control. Imagine being an FBI
Okay, that's one of those ones where you can tell like some guy was just like in the office, but like, oh, I'm bored. What can I sell to our followers? Oh yeah, we're gonna own the world one day. Trust me, guys.
Florida. It's just them documenting everything that they're illegal they're doing in this front to protect all their assets, which is just a vault full of gold. They also claim they own a dragon. That can't possibly be true. Because of the raids, 11 church leaders were charged with conspiring to steal government documents, theft of government documents, and conspiring to obstruct justice. And even though plans to take over Clearwater were halted, this did not stop the church from continuing to buy as much property as they could. Over the next 4 decades after settling there, the church had amassed 58 properties in Clearwater under its name. 49 of them were downtown, and 73% of the property is tax exempt for religious purposes. And
Oh my God, 70%. Okay, now that I hear that, I'm not gonna start my own, of course, but I can see why they have so much money. If 73% doesn't have to pay tax for whatever reason.
Is that their pockets are so deep, they're able to go in like McDonald's and buy up all these real estate options to where they probably control almost all of the downtown property, or at least a large portion of it. 49's a lot in any given city. Might not be New York levels, but
The fact that they own more than 3 buildings is just terrifying to me.
Clearwater campus is home to Flag, or flagship campus for Scientology. They put a lot of emphasis on it. It's like it's one of their bases, if not the base for all of their operations. And a lot of the things that they did in Clearwater too was they would train a lot of operatives there. People would move there, and they would usually work for free, and you would just sleep on a cot and eat beans. That's what it was like, and you're just like, we're like, la 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 la. I'm so happy, and it hurts to put my hands in the ocean, but that's okay. Scientologists all around the world.
Dude, everything about it just sounds like just not only free money, but free labor as well. People just come out like, would they just drive or fly across the country just to come to like this random town in Florida that no one cares about, and they just work for you for free just because they believe in your religion that was made up out of like the most random beginnings ever. Like some guy in a boat next to like a beach that didn't want to like pay taxes, so he harbored his ship right next to it so he can like still walk to the town, but he's not considered living there, so he doesn't have to pay tax. Which, you know, at the same time, that is like probably the most badass beginning or start of religion ever. Like Jesus Christ is, you know, like that's a pretty good start for like Christianity. But this one, that's pretty, you know, hardcore. So I respect that way more.
Established followers. Many important training courses take place here, so it makes sense why they are trying to isolate and take over the city. They want people to come on in who are already established. They don't have to worry about all the bullshit of doing the Thetan level things where you have to hold it, and people are just like, what the fuck is this? This is stupid. And they're like, no, it's really cool, actually. I'm gonna leave. Please stay. No, I'm seriously gonna go. And they're like, there goes another one. They want to have people who are already brainwashed, essentially. But when they go there, they're trying to have people flock to the city to make it look more legitimate, and to once again, seriously, like emulate this idea that this is like a big religious.
That guy right there in the stock footage was definitely paid off by Scientology.
One of the main courses here is Chief Training for Class 5 Org Staff, which is the highest level of staff. If you're Class 5, that's when you're learning about Xenu. You know, you paid your dues. Because also another thing about Scientology is to level up, you have to pay. You have to put money into it. It isn't just about doing good work. I'm a good guy. Cool. Write us a check. It's the pyramid schemes of all pyramid schemes is kind of what it is.
At that point, you really have to stop and think about like how legitimate this is. If the only way to be seen as a good person is just how much money you have.
From the dead, and a messiah-like role to halt the enslavement of his followers. So they're apparently going to get enslaved somehow, but he's going to come back. You want him to come back? This is the guy. Can he come back looking cooler? You know? The campus collects millions of dollars each week through fundraising and payments for expensive courses and high-level religious counseling not offered anywhere else. It is said that visitors are expected to stay in Scientology's hotels and eat at private church restaurants. If you're spending money at Clearwater, you're spending money at a Scientology thing. They will milk you dry. The upper levels of the Sea Org are also trained there, which the Sea Org is also training.
I just imagine they have their own like Starbucks that has like the price doubled way more, but all the followers are like, yeah, it's a good price, yeah, for our Scientology beliefs, yeah, it's good.
It's like dress up. It's very, you know, it's pretend. Before establishing themselves in Clearwater, the Sea Org existed on a fleet of sea vessels because of the tax evasion. Their members signed billion-year contracts and work non-stop, and usually for free. And according to Scientology beliefs, members are expected to return to the Sea Org when they are reborn. That's a drag. Their motto is Revenimus, which of course translates to, we come back. That's creepy.
I was hoping he's gonna say it translates to revenue, just money, base core. It's deep down, just money.
Are also victims of human trafficking, which is a lot of fun. They're often brought from other countries, tempted to join by offering a legitimate way of entering the United States. You want to live in America? It's nice here. Ooh, you landed in Clearwater? Yikes. So after the 70s, they had to die down because the FBI came in and they found all their crayon drawings and all their applesauce cups and their spit bibs and stuff and their hard hats. And this was the next time that they really pushed on Clearwater, which Scientology's footprint expanded in the area, and so did Clearwater's beaches' popularity for tourists. Business downtown struggled to stay open, and city leaders spent millions of dollars improving the area, and in 2016, city consultants began planning a $64 million effort to reinvigorate the downtown waterfront. Then something happened. In the first 2 months of 2017, a handful of companies bought 6 commercial properties downtown for $26 million. It seems that the church had their
I wonder who it was.
plan. And after a bid over an aquarium didn't go in their favor, the church had an explosion of purchases and non-church business owners were forced out. And let me tell you, with locals, it was war. The church doubled its footprint in less than 3 years. Business owners were offered cash with values 2 to 4 times the property's value. Most of these businesses...
You know what? Fair enough. I respect that. I would take that easily. I wouldn't care whatever, like straight jacket beliefs they believe in. I'd take it.
Years and years of the Sea Org being there, a lot of these weird Scientology people walking around scared all of the locals off and many of the tourists. Altogether...
Wait, was that them in the black vest, or was the guy in red a Scientologist? Because they look more like airline people, like hostess.
Downtown properties since 2017, totaling in a cost of $103 million, and $99 million of that was paid in cash. Most of the buildings purchased have been left sitting
as a good wage pay, you know. Nothing wrong with that.
Just for show, and it evokes the feeling of fake town similar to North Korea and China, trying to evoke the same thing as like thinking that it's a prosperous town, trying to think that like, oh, business is going on here, but it looks like a set at Disney World. It has left Clearwater as mostly a ghost town. You might look into a store and it's just the uncanny effect that there's nothing behind there. It's almost like this is a stage play. Uniformed employees of Scientology's Sea Org walk the streets at all times of day and night. The Sea Org agents will follow and photograph anyone that is caught walking through the area. If you were even just in town, God forbid you didn't know anything about it and you were just walking through, how creepy is it that a uniformed person with a camera would just follow you? And not only one person, but probably multiple people would follow you with cameras, record you. They probably don't respond to you asking what's going on, and you are forced to leave, and you probably just feel like you're in danger the entire time that you're down there. So this is a snapshot.
Oh my God, that would be terrifying. That reminded me when you said cameras. He showed that clip of the people walking by with sunglasses, which, you know, makes them look way more trustworthy, whatever. I saw about like those like Google glasses that has the camera built in on the side, and like it can also just record whenever you want it by just like a simple command that you can just turn on. So I feel like when that kind of like technology or gadget becomes popular, they're all gonna wear it as opposed to having like some body cam, just so they can make it seem like less subtle and, you know, therefore more terrifying. Like it really seems like a horror game where you try to find like Silent Hill, where you try to like find your sister or wife somewhere in some town, and you're like, I have to find my wife in Clearwater. Like it sounds normal, but then you go like at the dead of night, but then you have like 10 people like following you, all wearing like the same uniform. That'd be terrifying. I can only imagine what it's like to be a kid growing up here and like not realizing like what's going on, and all you notice just like more and more people wear the same uniform, while like every like regular person has their own life walking around. Like that kind of population goes down while more Scientologists flock to this town and like set up shop as the hometown.
It's a skywalk between two of the churches of Scientology, and it is reported that these skywalks were built to keep members of Sea Org from interacting with the public. So not only that, but even while they were probably buying up property, they were making these sky bridges. You could be walking there and then you just see people up in the windows and you'll never see them again. There's just so much more mystery behind the eyes of a stranger when you know that they're in a cult. We did find this case on Lisa McPherson, which is interesting. It's a woman from the 90s. This is just something horrific that was seen by the public in the town of Clearwater while things are going on. on, and this is what happened during that time. So in 1995, Lisa McPherson, a member of the church who was having a mental health crisis, was stripped naked in public, begging for help. She was eventually taken into custody by members of the church who forcibly removed her from state care. She was subjected to 17 days of auditing to cure her mental condition, and she later had died from a blood clot caused by severe dehydration. The church faced 2 felony charges, but they were later dropped after the medical examiner ruled the death as an accident. The Lisa McPherson thing is horrible.
To be fair, I forgot to drink water for like 8 days, so fair enough.
A thing they call as quote-unquote fair game policy that allows for aggressive tactics against perceived enemies of the church. This has included stalking, harassment, and legal battles against former members and critics. They have all the deep pockets in the world. They have all of these empty-brained people walking around with cameras that are going to record you in public.
I like how they have so much money to buy like half a town, but they're still cheap enough to buy like a camcorder.
Because it's a ghost town. It's a town run completely by these crazy people. And this is just a fun little thing. Let's go back to Tom Cruise real quick. Tom Cruise owns a penthouse 2 blocks from the main church. A man posted a video of himself touring the penthouse while under construction, and the Church of Scientology demanded that he take it down. He was then stalked and followed by members of the church. Eventually, he found cameras planted in front of his house, and he decided to sell the property because of these events. Do you blame him? What's insane to think is that Clearwater, this is something that's still going on, and something that is in the United States. When you hear stuff from overseas, like North Korea, and you hear stuff that's like they have a fake town that makes it look like their country is prospering and people are really happy, you think that could never happen here on your home turf or in a place like America, maybe Florida. You could maybe expect it in Florida, of all places. It is insane to think that this is something that just is ongoing and exists, and that there are currently people who are brainwashed, living and giving all of their valuable human years to this organization that is just pumping them dry. There's really nothing more horrifying than something that is just so blatantly real and in your face. To have the monsters of the town be people who were once humans who are now just these soulless people walking around harassing and recording people and serving some kind of crazy mission that they believe to be true. It's frightening. I would love to go. I'd love to go and surf. I think, in my opinion, that this is the creepiest town in America. I'd be very curious if you guys have any other creepy towns that we can cover. Do you think this is the creepiest town or not? I don't know.
Probably,
Tell us other creepy towns. I'd love to figure out some stuff. Until next time, thank you so much for watching this video, and hey, don't join a cult. We'll see you next time.
He brought a very good point where like there are towns in North Korea or like whatever like communist country that set up like places that are meant to seem lively, but then deep down, they're all just paid by like the state, whatever, to just walk around and like create the illusion of actual life going on in there. But even then, like the most you can look into it, it's just like, it's by the government to like make the people seem happier. But for this town, Clearwater, it feels way more ominous because it's not by a government, it's by just one organization, by the church. But then the fact that they were able to buy like half of the property there just from money, like nothing like trying to coerce the owners into like joining the church, just from like hard cold money to just get them to sell it to them because they wanted it. And what he said about like paying them like 2 or 3 times amount than whatever the property was worth, that's way scary because that means that, like they really don't care how much it takes to just buy whatever they want. As long as there's like a path to buy it, they will just take it no matter like how much money they have to dump into it. But the last thing I want to mention is that story about the girl that got like dehydrated because she was like kidnapped by the church. I thought he was gonna mention like another story where someone's wife was criticizing Scientology and then she ended up getting kidnapped, and it was like a long case trying to prove it was them, but they couldn't prove it like 100%. But it's one of those situations where everyone knows it, but because like of the like flaws in like the justice system, they couldn't like exactly charge them on it. So for the longest time, people were like, she's probably like held up in a basement somewhere by a couple of like Scientologists, but they couldn't like actually arrest them for it. I can't remember what it's called, but it's like something similar to that. And I wouldn't be surprised, like this story does seem to be like around the same level as that one that I'm like talking about. Not just because of the idea of them like kidnapping a woman, but more so because of like how invincible they seem to the law, where they can just like get sued for this, not sued but like charged, and then like get away from it like scot-free. Like that fact alone, no matter how small the crime is, the fact like some town, not even a town, like some organization that's like taking deep roots into like some random small town, it's already scary enough to... I feel like the title of the scariest town does go to this one. I don't know. That's my opinion,